See how it looks.
Hey, hey, how's it going? How's it going?
Oh, Jennifer just emailed us. Jennifer Cannon. Let me go on live.
How's it going? How's it going? Happy Tuesday. Hello, hello.
That's ugly.
What?
That's how it looks.
Hello, hello.
The connection is horrible.
Mm.
That connection is. How can y'all hear us? I know that the connection is the view is fuzzy, but how do y'all hear us?
Yeah, does it sound like it's a delay? Do you see our lips moving and then hear something later? Or I'm definitely
Okay, so you hear us, but the look is very um
okay.
okay. We be trying. We be trying.
Look, it ain't even us. Honestly, the enemy is trying to stop this. And
He can.
just like with everything else, we have to be spiritually ready for this.
Yeah.
So the enemy is going to continue to try to deter people, to try to get you to say, "Ah, it's blurry. I'm gonna just get off and catch him next week." Nah,
Mm-mm. Was pixelated. That's a new word for us. Oh. Woo.
well, we welcome you all. Happy
Yes.
Tuesday.
Happy
We pray
Tuesday,
your week has
everybody.
started off the way you want it.
You can declare how you want it. You can't really stop storms, but you can stop how you respond to them.
Absolutely.
hmm Awesome. Hey, in the Philippines. Hey, 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 everybody.
You can go into it knowing that you're not by yourself.
That's right. Shirley Griffin and Danny Love Strong and Late Flowers Diary, Angelica, Marie Michelle, Leslie Ralston, the Feminine CFO, uh, Litz, Liz T, maybe that's what it is. Mia, hey, 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 y'all, Joni, no nonsense. I know that's right. Hey, 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 Gail Brown, hey, hello, everybody.
Yes. Hello,
Enmo,
hello.
hey, Enmo, Linda Dupree, hey, hey, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yes, yes.
How was y'all's day? How's your weather and all that great stuff? Hey, Nikki Hawthorne. Hey, Dondrika, Dondrika. Awesome.
That's
Oh,
insane.
oh, hey, Stephanie White. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, everybody. The Queen's Guide to Life. Hello. You're in Charlotte? There's so many of us in Charlotte. Yes. Where are you, Dondrika? Where are you? She said it's hot.
Well, look, it's about that
Ooh.
time. Little
Was that
Rock.
about to, Little Rock? Ooh, we never been there.
Mm-mm.
Mm, gotta go there.
Yeah. But it's about that time, so we're gonna get this thing started. For those of you that are new, we're Terrence and Jill, God-Ordained Union. We're here to do one thing only, and that is to help increase God-Ordained unions.
Yes,
So we
yes,
thank you guys for just spending this time with us.
yes. We know what it is to be single and being mature single, but I'm gonna tell you, being married, it's a different. And I don't like to say it's a different level, but it is different. And so it's like we feel like like I feel like we're doing our Harriet Tubman. We're going back and getting those singles who desire marriage and just helping you get through your wilderness, whatever that is for you. We know what that feels like. We were there at one time. I was 48 when I met Terrence, which we're going to go about our story tonight. And yeah, and so we know what you're feeling. So this channel is really dedicated to singles. Singles. We can't get no relationship advice
No.
because we only been in it for 4 years, married. And
But what we can do is say we know what it feels like when you feel like nobody's hearing you, when you feel like
right.
nobody's seeing you, when you feel like you're going through a season that's dry, when you're going through a season and you think that you know what, God has forgotten about me. I done got too old. I made God angry. I made God upset. I did something wrong, and I'm not going. Now He has nobody for me. We know what those feel like.
Mm-hmm.
We've been there, done that.
Yeah. The thing is that what we've learned is that marriage is it starts with the individual. It's an inside thing that you've got to work on going into it, because if not, you will miss your person. You can delay your person. You can, they cannot see you. And so on this channel, we help you to see some things about your individual self. So when you take yourself into union with someone, man, they're going to shine a whole spotlight on you. I say marriage is the best personal development tool ever, but there's so many people who can't even get there. And so, so we going back to get you. We're going back to get you. And so, so yeah, so make sure you subscribe to our channel and all that great stuff. We go live every Tuesday.
At 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, and we have a private group that meets every first and third Tuesdays
From 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
right after our live. The private group is $11 per month. And if you join and you find out you don't like it, you can cancel. You don't have to tell us you're canceling, none of that. But the private group, it is more like a group coaching. You bring your questions, we see you, you see us, you see all the group members. So many of the group members have formed their own individual friendships and all that great stuff.
Mhm.
And so we come together and it's like a group coaching session. I am a certified life coach. And Terrence gives a male perspective because a lot of women want to know what the male, what a good man is thinking. And so they have the opportunity in that group to like have our full attention. And so we go deep. What goes on in that group stays in that group.
Mhm.
And so if you want to join us, you can go to our website. We also do one-on-ones. We put them on pause this summer because we bought a house.
Yeah, we moved.
We moved. So our one-on-ones will be starting the week after Labor Day.
Yeah.
So we'll put the link back up, but we put the link on pause. But for those of you who've been emailing us, we are coming back. So we do one-on-ones, and so you can book a one-on-one with us, and we tell you what we think. We don't sugarcoat nothing. Also, we have a prayer call that we participate in. It's actually it's led by my mom, and so it is on Friday nights.
Every Friday.
Every Friday. So if you want to do, and the prayer call is absolutely free. You can join us. We go into prayer at midnight. So we meet.
It starts at 11:50 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Goes through midnight until you just get tired.
Yeah. Some of them be on the phone. I've heard them pray until 7 a.m. in the morning. This one I'll be on there that light, but By 1:30, I am drifting off to sleep. But a lot of our subscribers are on there faithfully every Friday. Terrence is one of the inspirational speakers that speaks every month, once a month. And so you can definitely join us. All that information is on our website. Also, we have an ebook for the ladies. We highly recommend that all the ladies get that ebook. It's only $8. You can go to our website, godordainedunion.com, or you can go down there to the description. Also, we have partnered with
eHarmony.
eHarmony.
Yeah.
Yep. So, hey, Ely. So, if you want to search your matches for free, if you're interested in online dating, go ahead and try eHarmony out. Also, follow us on Instagram
Hmm.
and TikTok.
Yep, that's our day to day. That's the things that you're going to see us doing. Like sometimes when we go eat or when we go
Whatever.
out, you
Our
know,
lifestyle.
it's just going to show our lifestyle, what we're doing,
And we want to
how we're
see you
doing it.
too. We want
So
to
you
meet
know
you.
that we're the same person that you see here is how we live every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
That's it.
Yeah. So we just hit 33,000
Yeah. So thank
subscribers.
y'all. Thank you.
Ooh,
Thank
thank
you.
y'all. So we got a lot of new subscribers, and so what we like to do every so often is recap our stories because we get a lot of questions, and a lot of questions are based off those who are new and don't know us. So we're going to recap our love story, how we met. Before we do, let me just make this comment. Yes, yes, yes. We are well aware that on a lot of those videos, I've overtalked Terrence. So a lot of you are making those comments and trying to get suggestions. You're seeing old videos. I've been working on it, y'all. How Ely,
Look,
how I been doing? I've been working on it.
here's what you need to understand about that. If long as hubby isn't complaining, then it ain't a problem.
Yeah, yeah. But I try to work on it. And there's no excuse, but there is an excuse. I'm going through menopause
Mm-mm.
and
No,
okay.
this is how we are. We go back and forth. We tit tat. We bounce off each other all the time.
Yes.
There are times when I actually interrupt her. Y'all just don't say nothing to me about it. Okay.
Right.
At the end of the day,
Y'all come at me.
we bounce back and forth off each other. At the end of the day, don't trip about that. Trip about the message.
Right.
What the Holy Spirit has put on us to say is what you need to be getting. And sometimes I get it. We're both talking at the same time, and it's hard for you to understand us both. That's why we got playback.
Yeah.
That's why you can just look at it again.
Right.
So don't miss your blessing because you allowed the enemy to distract you at a moment when we said something that was going to be key for your life.
Mm-hmm.
That is huge, huge, huge.
Yes. Yes, Ely. So you've heard us mention this. We went to Wanda and Randy's wedding over the weekend. Had to shout out Wanda and Randy.
Yes.
So real quick, Wanda was one of our very first subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
When we thank you, Ely. When we first started this channel in January of 2021, Wanda was one of our very first subscribers. And we've known her, from Maryland, but she has been supporting this channel since day one. And about 2 years ago, I had a dream, and I told her, and I know of Randy, but they really didn't know each other. So they're both from Maryland. But 2 years ago, I had a dream. They had eventually, met or whatever. But they were just, acquaintances. But 2 years ago, I had a dream that I saw the both of them together. I saw them married, and I was hesitant to say anything. And it was a couple of weeks before I sat on that prophetic dream. But eventually, I called Wanda and I told her, I said, I had a dream and I just need to tell you what it is. And she was like, oh my, okay, okay. She had, because it was an eligible bachelor, whatever. elder in the church. And so she was like, okay, like, oh. And so about a year after that, she said they were dating. And this past May, he proposed. And this past weekend, we went to their wedding. So, and she always talks about the message suddenly. And when we say suddenly, and they had an absolute beautiful, let me tell you how you know when something is God ordained and when it's ordained by God. It is the fruit that comes out of it. We went to this wedding on the weekend. First of all, everybody was dancing. It was so fruitful, but I received a prophetic word at the wedding from someone and started crying. That's how you know when something is ordained by God, because the not only is the union blessed, but those who are part of it are blessed. It's like it was like, what the heck? I started crying, like, like what the heck is going on? But it was just such a blessed wedding. So yes, Wanda got married. Those of you who know Wanda, and Randy is one of the inspirational speakers that comes on the prayer call. Every he's on there maybe like every 2 or 3 months. He's one of the inspirational speakers. So congrats to Wanda and Randy. Thanks for bringing that up, Ely. Okay, so we're gonna recap our how we met, because I know a lot of you are new and you're getting pieces of our story. Because I was never married, never had any children. Yes, I wanted children. It didn't happen. Yes, I was crushed about it. It didn't happen. At 42, I tried to make the counterfeit my baby daddy. It didn't happen. Never had a proposal, never had a marriage. I was not a dater. Everybody who I did date, I ended up in some type of relationship, long term relationship with 2 years or more. And I was a homebody. I didn't go out a lot. I'm not. I'm social, but I like my home life better. And so that was my story. And in 2014, I got an offer. I had my own business, a consulting business, nonprofit consulting. I had an offer to come down to North Carolina from Maryland to do some consulting for a $20 million nonprofit. So I took the offer. I came down and I realized, wow, this is a nice place. Why do I need to go back? I can go back and forth. It's only 4 hours away. At that time, I was in Raleigh, and so that's what I did. I ended up eventually selling my condo in Maryland, and I made North Carolina my home. 2017, I was visiting a church here in North Carolina in Raleigh, and I received a prophecy from a pastor, the pastor, and he called me out and he said I had an Esther anointing, and he said the spirit of the Esther was on me, and he was, and so I really didn't know what it. I mean, I know the story of Esther, but I really didn't know how it applied to me. But I stood on that prophecy. That was like early 2017. Also in 2017, there was a hurricane. We had a bad hurricane in North Carolina. And I remember that hurricane, when that hurricane came, I cried out to the Lord on my living room floor because I was in North Carolina alone. I was here. I had my friend Z, who is a follower of this channel as well. She was my only friend that I had in the area and didn't know anybody else, and that I, had personal connection. But I remember crying out to the Lord, saying, Lord, I am ready for a husband. I had never really said those words out loud. I don't know. It just was weird to me asking for a husband. But I remember I cried out. I was praying on the floor during this hurricane. And I was like, I'm ready to be married. Now, also during that time, I was holding some hard unforgiveness against a family member, not because they abused me, but because their choices affected my life. And so I had a lot of unforgiveness and harboring negative feelings. I was also one of those quote unquote successful single women I fell into that. So unforgiveness was a block. I fell into the successful black woman trap. That because everybody, if you ain't do this and you ain't make this and you ain't driving this, I ain't got time for you. I fell into that. Also, again, I was not a dater, so I didn't go out a lot. I was blocked. I was in stayed home. Like Friday nights, you gonna find me at home, and you better not call by a certain time because I'm not gonna answer. I love being home. So those were blocks that were on me. So 2017, the hurricane came. I cried out to the Lord, and I just went on this journey from there. After I cried out, I just went on this journey, and I just was like, okay, Lord, if I'm not gonna get a husband, I was gonna ready to turn 48, then it's just gonna be me and you. I said, Lord, give me peace about it. And he gave me peace. And I was okay. 2018 came, and 2018 came, my niece came to visit me for the summer. Deasia came to visit me for the summer. And I'm in my room, she's in the other room one night. She says, Aunt Jill, oh my God, look at this little boy. He is the cutest little thing. She had went on an adoption site and found this cutest little boy that needed to be adopted. And she looked at it, she gave it to me, and I said, because of course it crossed my mind, maybe I should reach out to the adoption agency. But something said, but then I told her, I said, no, I would never bring a child into without having a balance, without having a father. I said, so I'm, yeah, as cute as he is, I said, that's it. Why won't you just reach out? And I was like, it's okay, Deasia. I'm not going to do that. I'm good. I'm good. Um, about a week after that, I got a phone call from my ex. Now my ex would call, he was married, and he made it clear that he was happily married. And I was okay with that because we were like 10 years out of being in a relationship. But every year he would call like clockwork just to quote unquote check in on me. This particular time he called, and it was different. He called on a Thursday, and he said, he was going through something business wise, and he said, hey, he said, I need my friend advice. I need my friend's advice. He said, I'm doing such and such and such, and I need your advice. And so that is just who I am. People call me for advice all the time. So I hadn't heard from him for a year. We caught up or whatever. He still couldn't believe that I had moved away to North Carolina. And you're not ever going to come back? No, I have nothing to come back there. Why would I come back to Maryland? I'm good. So he called me back and he said, I need your advice. Y'all hear me? Hold on. Y'all see me? I can't see. Y'all can see. I can't see. I don't know what I did. Y'all good? Y'all see me? Yes. We lost connection. My our stupid cable went out or the connection went out. Anyway, I said I'm good. I ain't coming back to Maryland. Um, so I he asked me my advice. I told him what my opinion was about whatever he wanted. The next day, Friday, he called again. And at that time, he and I had another conversation. That conversation went into something else. Something another conversation. It was innocent, quote unquote, but it was just it was like, okay, so he's calling me. And I'm thinking, okay, where your wife at? It's Friday night. Where's your wife? Saturday morning. Hey Robin, Saturday morning, like at 6 in the morning, I get a text from him. Good morning. I said, oh no, I know what this is. No, we will not be emotionally cheating. That's what we're not doing. And so I remember I never replied. And I said, Lord, please send me my husband. He's somebody else's husband. I want my husband. And would y'all believe, I don't know what happened. He never contacted me again. I have not heard from him since. Never contacted me again. Anyway, that Saturday, after I said, Lord, send me my husband, I was on Facebook and somebody had posted, one of my associates, Facebook associates, had posted an article that said the three best dating sites that there is. Two of them I was familiar with because one of them was eHarmony, where I had met my ex from. And so I was familiar with eHarmony and I was familiar with the other site, but I wasn't familiar with the site that Terrence's profile was on. So I said, let me try this out. Now, I shouldn't have even, logic says, why would you even go on another dating site? I hadn't been on that dating site in almost 10 years, like since 2012. So it was like, well, yeah, like 6 years, because it was like 2018 when I said, okay, well, let me just try this dating site. So I went on a dating site and I think I did like a 30-day subscription. So I went on, and the first day I was getting so many hits, and I was saying, nope, 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 nope. Then I get an alert that there was a match, and it was Terrence's profile. And immediately, I felt like when I saw his profile, I felt like I was watching myself. I felt like I saw myself. And I read his profile, and the words were just jumping out on the page. It was a simple thing he said. He said, "I'm looking for, if you're not a woman of God, or if you just know that I love the Lord. If that's not you, then please keep it moving." He was very direct in what he wanted, and I was like, "Oh, I like that." And so, I said, "Well, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to see if he contacts me, because that's how I do online dating. Like, I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna let the man, we both got the alert. I'm gonna let him reach out to me." So he never reached out. He never reached out. And so I'm like, the next day came, 2 days later, 3 days later, 4 days later. And then I sent him, so I said, well, let me, I saw it that he had never viewed the profile. So that made me know he didn't probably answer the alert. So I said, well, let me send an emoji, like to just nudge him to remind him. So I did that. He never replied. And so that was the summer of 2018. The membership was about to run out. Something said extended for 3 months. So I did that. October of 2018, I had a dream. And in the dream, I dreamt that Terrence was at my apartment in Raleigh, but he was sleeping in my guest room. In the guest room, it was dark. And Terrence was laying in the bed. And I peeked in the room, and it was a safety pin that was on the side of him, but it was open. So I went in the room, I closed the safety pin, I covered him up, and I left out the room, and I closed the door. When I woke up, I knew exactly what the dream meant. The dream meant it was pray for this guy. Not that he was mine, but pray for him because he's in a dark space. And somebody had interpreted the dream. One of our subscribers said he also needed safety with the safety pin. And so I just started praying for this guy. I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to pray for this guy. I'm going to just, pray for this guy for his health, his safety, whatever's going on with him. He's in a dark space. He's going through something. I'm going to just pray for this guy. And that's what I did. That was in October. Membership ran out. But because Terrence put his full name as his profile name on the dating site, I said, let me go look up this guy on Facebook, on social media, see if he got a Facebook account. Who does that? Don't nobody put their full name on a dating profile. He put his full name, Terrence Smith. So I went to Facebook and I searched his name, and bam, it came up. And the profile that was in the dating site was the same profile picture that was on Facebook. And so I saw it, but I just read through his profile, his whole profile. But I was like, I just continued to pray for him. Right after Christmas, my best friend was like, girl, DM him. And I fell to my flesh and I reached out and I DM'd him. And a couple of days later, I put in the DM, I said, hey, I said, you don't know me and don't think I'm crazy, but I came across your profile on such and such dating site. And if you are, if you are married or if you found your person, please don't respond. I said, but the dating site said that we were a 97% match. And I'm curious to know I said something real corny, something I would never do. My pride would never allow me to do that. And so that's what I did. A couple of days later, Terrence replied, and it was New Year's Eve of 2019. He replied, and he was like, oh, well, since you took the time to send me a DM, I guess I could, have a conversation. I say, if you want to have a conversation, we can, oh, no. The first thing he said was, hey, thank you for reaching out. He said, no, I haven't found my person. And yes, I'm single. And he was like, thank you for reaching out. And he said, well, I was like, well, I would love to have a conversation with you just to see, like, they said we matched. I was something I would never say. And so he was like, well, the least we can do is have a conversation. And I was like, okay, this is what the funny part was. Because I reached out to Terrence, while we were conversing back and forth in the DM, I got an alert from Facebook that said Terrence requested me as a friend. So I was like, oh, he want to be my friend on Facebook. And so we planned to exchange numbers. I had company coming in town. I said, okay, I'll call you. I'll reach out to you in a couple of days, and we can exchange numbers and we can, have a conversation. Company came, company left. He was now my Facebook friend. Now I could really see all of his profile. So of course I took the opportunity to really go through his profile. A couple of days came, I reached out to him. I said, hey, whenever you want to have a conversation, we can exchange numbers. That was like January 5th or 6th. He went ghost. And I ain't gonna use the word ghost because we weren't in no relationship or nothing. But he went silent. He never responded. Where were you?
You know, the great thing about Jill telling the story is that she can hit a lot of the details. But what I love about her telling the story is that a lot of you say the things that you wouldn't do, the things that you wouldn't say, the things that you wouldn't allow somebody else to say, the things that you wouldn't accept. All those things happen to us. And so if y'all don't get anything else out of her telling the story, get this. Be careful saying what you will and what you won't do. Because when it's the one, things are going to happen sometimes, not in a straight order. It's not going to happen the way that it usually happens. God's going to speak to you and do some things that you would never have thought before that it was going to happen. And then it does. And then you get caught in a situation. So that's what I love about it. But I say all that to come back to say this. From my perspective, okay, it was around 2018 or so when I had the conversation with God about, Lord, I don't know what I've been doing wrong, but I'm at a point now where I'm just relinquishing this all to you. If you have somebody for me, then you're going to have to make that happen. But if you don't, and it's just going to be me and you, then it's just going to be me and you. That's the prayer I had, the conversation I had with God around 2018. When this right here was happening, I was doing other stuff. So I didn't ghost her. I
wasn't priority.
I was just doing me. And that's something that y'all have heard me say that's been rocking with us for more than 2 years or so. Y'all been hearing me say this a lot. When you first meet somebody, you're not priority in their life and they're not priority in yours. Y'all's paths just happen to cross. Okay. So at this point, I wasn't ghosting her. I was just doing what I was doing in my life. Okay. But here's how the Holy Spirit works. Because up to that point, we did agree to talk. Okay. And again, I didn't ghost her, but I didn't, when she reached back out to him, I wasn't there. Okay. I didn't see it because at that time in my life, I was actually putting some distance between me and social media. So I wasn't on there on purpose. I was trying to put some time because I was a part of a company that I was on there all the time.
Multi-level marketing.
I was in multi-level marketing. So I was on there all the time, every day, and it got to a point where when I said, okay, it's time for a change, God has taken me in another direction. I wanted to separate myself, not only from that company, but I wanted to get away from everybody seeing my name and thinking I was trying to sell them something. So I was in the midst of doing all of that. Long story short, that whole year went by.
It wasn't a whole year.
But it was from that January to November. That's 11 months. That's almost an entire year. During that time, though, however, I had to went on her profile. Multiple. When I say multiple, I mean a lot of times. And here's the thing. I still wasn't on there a lot. But every time I got on Facebook, I'd stroll. And as I'm strolling through my friends, I kid y'all not, it seemed like everybody was in black and white until I came across her picture. Now, I had the same conversation with myself every time I came across her picture. Who is this woman? Where'd she come from? Then I go on her profile. Did I send her friend request? Did she send me one? How do we meet? I was going through that every single time I seen her picture. And it got to a point where the more I saw it, the less I could get her out of my mind. That built up. It built up all the way until around November, okay, just before Veterans Day. And that's when I reached back out to her. Hey, I sent her a message.
But when you went in there, you saw that you had already started a conversation with me.
Yeah. Let me share that because that's important. When I went in there in November before I sent her the message, I realized I went into to see if we had been conversing in it, and I saw where we agreed that she's going to call me back in a couple of days, or reach out to me in a couple of days when her family left, so we can have a conversation. And I see that I did not respond. So now I'm thinking, oh, I deserve to be cussed out. And but here's the thing about me, and I've always been a straightforward person. I felt like, you know what? If she cussed me out, I deserve it because it's been almost 11 months, right? So, but at the same token, I wanted to speak to her so much. I wanted to reach back out to her so much because at this point now, the Holy Spirit was like, look, you need to reach out to her. You know, she got your rib, boy. You need to reach out. But anyway, I reached out to her, knowing that if she cussed me out, I was just going to take it because I knew I deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. And she didn't cuss me out.
So about July or August, after not hearing from him from like 7 months, I was having a conversation with one of my girlfriends, and she made mention. She said, "I hate when Facebook do. You reach out to somebody, and Facebook automatically sends a friend request, and the person didn't, actually request you as a friend." I said, "Wait, hold up. Wait a minute. Say that again." I realized that Terrence did not send me a friend request. Facebook did it automatically. At that point, I was about to just block him. Something said, the Holy Spirit said, don't block him. Do not block this guy. I was continually praying for this guy. Some days I was like, why am I praying for this guy? Not that he would be with me, but praying for this guy's, because I had told the Lord I would pray for this guy who was in a dark place. Because I was so committed to doing what God said do, I was just praying for this guy. And every single week I would fast. I would pray for this guy. And I kid you not, all that summer, I kept getting signs. I was like, I'm tired of, Lord, if you said that this is not the person, I'm okay with that. He didn't say it wasn't the person, but to me, it wasn't the person. If he's not the person, I'm good with that. But why am I getting these signs? I would go ride down the street and there would be a big sign that say Terrence on it, spelled like his name. We'll go to a restaurant and the waiter name will be Terrence, spelled like his name. Watch a movie, the credits will go up. It'll be a Terrence, did the music, and it would be like he would spell his name. It was like all of these signs. And so I just continued to pray. But let me tell you something. I was in my Jill mode. I was doing me. I had just went natural. I was into me. And so I would take out a little time every week. But as far as I was concerned, when I had to pray with the Lord, Lord, make me at peace being single. As far as I was concerned, I was getting ready to be a 50-year-old peaceful somebody. And that's how I carried myself. Right before Veterans Day, I'm sitting at work. And you know how you on Facebook and you get the little red number that's indicating a message, a new message? I saw a number 1 up there. Now, my Facebook is filled with just family. I just so happen to let this guy in my personal circle that I don't even know. And I shouldn't have did that because he didn't really ask to be in my personal circle. I knew right then, that's that guy, Terrence. I went to the bathroom. I was at work. I went to the bathroom. I said, Lord, I don't know what this is. I said, but I'm going to trust you and you tell me how to respond. So I came back and I opened up the message, and sure enough, it was him. And he sent me a picture of a white rose, and I responded back. I said, "Hey, Facebook friend." I said, "Are you sure you got the right person?" He was like, "Yes, I'm sure." And we just went back and forth having a conversation through DM. And so that was like at lunchtime. We went back and forth all day until it was time for me to leave. So I was like, "Okay, well, thank you for reaching out, whatever. And, it was good hearing from you." So the next couple of weeks, we went back and forth with in the DM. Thanksgiving night, I'm at home. Oh, at this time we had exchanged phone numbers, but we was just texting. Thanksgiving night, I'm at Maryland at home at my sister's house for Thanksgiving, the whole family, and I get a text from Terrence, and he said, "I really want to get to know you to see where we can go with this." He said, "But I want to take it slow." When I tell you that was the best Thanksgiving ever, I responded back. I said, "Slow is perfect." The very next day after Thanksgiving, we had our very first conversation on the phone. I was in Maryland, and we talked and laughed. He told me about his family. He had all these sisters and brothers. Um, yes, he is. Told me all about his sisters and brothers, and it was just, it was just, it was just a beautiful conversation. That Sunday, I was traveling back home, and Terrence text. He said, "Hey, I'm just calling to make sure you're good on the road." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." Came back home to Raleigh, and I think we had planned to see each other during the Christmas holiday, but it didn't happen, and I was cool with that. Like, I was like, "Okay, it is what it's going to be." We kept saying we were going to come and see each other. We were like 2.5 hours away from each other, but it just never happened. And I was actually planning my 50th birthday party, so my most of my attention was planning my 50th birthday party because me, my best girlfriends, my sisters, my first cousins, my mom, all it was a girls' trip. It was 25 of us. We were all going to Sag Harbor in New York for my 50th birthday to spend my 50th birthday. So that's what my attention was for that February. And so we would have these conversations every now and again. We didn't talk every day. Sometimes it would be 3 or 4 days. And every now and again, he'll text. He would say, "Hey, just thinking about you," or he'll send me a song. I was like, "Oh, thank you." I never called him. I think maybe 1 or 2 times I would text and say, "Hey, you good?" But that was it. Birthday came in February. A week after that, the pandemic hit and everything shut down. So the plan was for him to come and see me right after I finished celebrating my birthday. So that didn't happen. And so we kept going back and forth. We were on lockdown, and Terrence was like, "Look, I want to see you even if we got to break some rules," because we were told we couldn't travel or nothing. And so it pushed all the way back to June, to that June. So June came, and Terrence was like, "I'm coming to see you." And he came to see me, and I opened up that door and I jumped in his arms. And from that day, we have not been apart. From that day, he kept coming every weekend. And I think it was that October, I did my first trip to Charlotte to see him. I came down to Charlotte to see him, and I actually just posted a picture on our TikTok. So I came down to Charlotte to see him, and then the next time I came to Charlotte to see him, which was in December 12th, he proposed. So it was exactly 6 months. He came to see me on June 12th, and on December 12th, he proposed. And on that January, a couple of weeks later, we started this channel. So that's our story. And then 16 months after we got engaged, we got married. And we pushed it out because we wanted to have a wedding and we wanted the pandemic to
pandemic was still going when we got engaged, so we had to push it out. And we got with the venue, and they told us, what was going on there. So we kind of all worked together between us and the venue to make sure that we had the date that we
Yeah.
wanted, and it worked out.
Yep. So that's the story. That is the story. That is our story for all of those who wait, hold on. Is the chat something wrong with the chat?
No, a woman was asking if it was live because she couldn't see some of the she couldn't see the chat.
Oh, okay. Yep. So that's how our love story went. Any questions?
And that's why, based upon how ours went, that's why we can speak so candid about when some of you say that it's been so many months or some, and you're wondering what's going on. It's like, look, if you put your expectations in God and what God is doing in your life at that moment, and you trust in Him to work out the details, everything is going to work out the way God is intending it to work out for
Right.
you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you keep stressing yourself out by asking when is this going to take place, you're going to drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, I think that we always get the question, of, how long does it take after you meet somebody? I mean, everybody's different, but one of the main things that we did not do is that we did not have any expectations in each other. I didn't have, I literally went from us getting to know each other to him proposing. There was like no girlfriend stage. So there was no expectations at all. Like I didn't expect him to call even after he came to see me for the first time. I didn't expect him, he did a courtesy call to say he was home or whatever, but I didn't say, well, he's got to start calling me every day because it's got to be consistent. And he did not call me. Well, after he saw me, it did become like we started talking to each other more, but it wasn't still every single day. There was no pattern. Like, so I couldn't say he was consistent in, he was not consistent in the things he was doing as far as calling and stuff. He was consistent in his character. His character was consistent. But as far as calling every day and calling at it and checking, he didn't do that. And I didn't do that either. And I didn't expect him to, and he didn't expect me to. When we did do it, is because we wanted to do it, not because we felt obligated to do it. So we didn't have any expectations on each other. Hey, Gen Xer. Hey. Yeah, Gen Xers are built
The other
different.
thing that we both did is that we didn't talk to people about us, each other.
Yes, we closed it down. I
That
closed it
whole
down.
that whole thing, even when she said that there was a gap, and it was from that January to that November. Even me going online and strolling and all this other stuff, seeing her picture and checking it, I didn't tell anybody that I saw somebody that I was interested in. When we started texting, I never told anybody. When I went on Facebook just before my birthday to announce our engagement, that was the first time my family knew that she and I were serious at
Yeah,
that point.
yeah. And I remember when he posted, we were in our talking phase, and he posted a picture of me and him on his Facebook, and I was like, why would he do? And he tagged me. I was like, why would he do that? I haven't told anybody that I was dating anybody. Why would he do that? And and then I just got a piece about it. I was like, okay, if this is what we doing this. And so I didn't untag me, and what was put the picture that was put on his profile, it was seen on my profile, and I was like, okay, well, I guess and people would know. And then the next picture that we posted was a picture that's the profile of this channel, and it's when we got engaged, and we got engaged. That day was so beautiful because it was my second time going to Charlotte, and I had uh, it was like early Saturday morning. I drove down and we went to breakfast, I think. Then we went to Marl Mountain and we went to the top of the mountain. Perfect time to get engaged to somebody. And I had no clue that I was going to get engaged that day. And it was, and then we came off of Mar Mountain, and then he took me, around to his sisters and some of his sisters' houses or whatever, and then we went to lunch, and then you know we were dilly dallying or whatever we were doing, and then we went to dinner to this cute little quaint restaurant that was in his neighborhood. We went to dinner. It was very romantic. Went to dinner, and dinner was great. We came back to his house, and I'm like, I had on my flannel pajamas because you know, I had on my flannel two-piece pajamas, and he was, playing chess on his phone like he does. And I was on the other side of, his bed, like on the other side, because I'm sleeping over here, he's sleeping over there. And I had on my flannel pajamas, and I was watching Ron's house. And all of a sudden he said, I got to get you down here permanently. And I was like, and I said, okay, dude, well, the ball is in your court. He was like, oh, you think I'm playing? And what I didn't know was that my Christmas gifts were sitting in the corner of his room. And one of the Christmas gifts was a ring, this ring. And he was like, oh, you think I'm playing? And he proposed. And I was like, and the first person I called was my mother. Called Pastor Joyce. I said, Ma, you were. She said, I knew it. I knew it. I felt it in my spirit. I knew it. And so, yeah.
And the weird thing about that is that we had a conversation just prior to that about how guys propose, and the woman don't just answer the question. She asks us 100 questions rather than answer the one that we asked. And that's exactly what she did.
Wow. Yeah.
So, like I said, we really understand
Yes.
where you all are.
We do.
Went through a lot. We experienced a lot. God revealed a lot to us, shared a lot to us about ourselves, but also about each other.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about, suddenly, when we talk about, different time frames, when we talk about how things change, how the season's going to change, we were in tune. Mm-hmm. Once the Holy Spirit told me, yeah, she's the one. Go get your rib. Yeah. From that point on, it was straight. From the time I knocked on her door and she jumped in my arms, we ain't been separated since.
We have not been separated. To join our private group, you can go to our website, GodOrdainedUnion.com. You'll see it. It's called God-Ordained Connections. Ely, no, we are not meeting tonight. We are meeting next week, next Tuesday, the first and third Tuesday.
So when we tell you that from the time a guy sees you, physically sees you, it's probably around 6 months or so, he's going to know if you're the one or not. And that doesn't mean he's going to tell you, though. But it means that he probably already knows.
Yeah. He might not tell you. And it could be for several reasons. He might be wanting to get his finances together, whatever it may be. He might not tell you, but he will show it. And so if he's interested, and you'll know, and then you'll if it's your person, you will know, because there'll be a sense of a peace on you that surpasses all understanding, when you would usually be anxious or flipping out, or when is he going to do that? You won't have that. You'll be at peace. You'll be you'll be at the point where you just want time to slow down. You'll have a peace about yourself.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the biggest things you can look for. when you feel peace, when you can rest in God about it, yeah, you know God is in it. When you feeling anxiety, when you feeling, a little frustrated, when you feeling like you're confused about something, that's when something should start to go off to say you need to, okay, hold your head up, look around. What do you
Mm-hmm.
see? What are you
Mm-hmm.
hearing? Check some things out because
Yeah.
everything might not be what it appears to be.
Yeah. So this is a good question. She said, did any of the blockages show up in your marriage? Yes. So the whole, successful black women thing, I had before Terrence came in my life, I had already started to scale back my business. I had taken a position, and so I had already started to scale back my because I knew that season was over for me of me having my business, and so but the remnants of success was still there. Again, not to say that you can't be successful and married, but sometimes it's a block for people, and for me, it was a block. So the first year of marriage, um it was a very much, this is my money, that's your money, we'll put money together to pay for bills. I was very much individualistically thinking of finances, and the Lord said I could show you better than I could tell you. I ended up losing my job. There was a massive layoff. I was laid off, and I had no income anymore, and I had to rely on my husband. And when I say I kicked, screamed, and hollered, I mean I remember kicking, screaming, and hollering. I felt so everything inadequate. I felt like I needed my own stuff and my own money. And Terrence was like, "Well, don't go back to work." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And it was that point that we ended up getting postmarital counseling. We got counseling. We ended up getting we went end up going to therapy. And but yeah,
That was a trip.
yeah, that was a trip, because by the sixth session, the therapist, a Hispanic guy who was a Christian, ended up prophesying over us and telling us that we were called to do do relationships. And we were like, "What? You still ain't fixed us. This six session number six.
Yeah, he
You
told us
still."
nothing wrong with
He
it.
said nothing wrong with y'all. And yeah, we supposed to have 10 sessions. I think we ain't never go back. But yeah, it showed up. And so after I did go back to work, what we decided to do was put our money together. When we put our money together, it was a game changer. A game changer. We merged all of our
Yeah, we
assets,
merged everything.
everything. It was a game changer. He put me on his credit cards. I put him on my credit cards. It was, we put one pot of money, and it was a game changer. We don't have no separate accounts. It might not work for nobody else's marriage, but it needed to happen for me, because I was such an independent. And let me just say this: my career is in finance, and so my job, my was an account in accounting. So I am the numbers person. I manage the money. So I knew how I wanted the money to be managed. And so yes, that was a block that had to be broken.
When we put our money together, you talk about from that time having an open heaven about anything we wanted.
Mm,
It's been a game changer.
a game changer.
It also, because one of the things that it did, it put us in alignment. It's
It
put
put
us
us
in
in
agreement
alignment,
with
in
each other.
agreement. Yep.
It put us in agreement. So at that point, we start saying, this is what we were going to do. This is how we wanted it. This is how we were going to do. We cutting out this company. We cutting out that company. We putting everything in this company.
We closing these
Yeah.
bank accounts. We're gonna go to a whole new, fresh bank. And yeah, as soon as we merged everything,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
game changer.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So that was a good question. It was a really good question. Let me see.
Where's a stroll back up just for a
Oh
second?
yeah, not feeling worthy. Oh
Right
yeah,
there.
that's a
Drummer Boy Peace. Put your question in. You said you got
You-
something. You got some questions. Type them in.
I've had a lot of pain and confusion and search for my wife.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, you need to heal. You searching, you're going to end up with a trauma bond.
Mhm. Yeah. One of the things that I think is helpful too, if you haven't, and if you don't know this, you need to learn it. And that is, there are certain things that you can't get from a spouse or another person, period. So you need to learn what those things are. Because if you're putting unrealistic expectations on people,
Then
you're
you
setting
sexually
yourself
yourself.
up. You're setting yourself up for failure because they're going to disappoint you. Not because they tried to disappoint you, but because you're expecting something out of them that they cannot deliver. For an example, when you hear men say, "I'm looking for a woman that's going to bring me peace," ladies, look, no disrespect, but y'all can't bring a man peace. You get
Mm-mm.
That's a fruit of the spirit. You
Mm-hmm.
get that from the Holy Spirit. You can't get it from another person.
Right.
So what you have to in turn think about is, well, what is he describing as peace? But he's misdiagnosing.
Yeah. This person said, she said, is North Carolina a great place for single women? It doesn't matter. You could meet your person in a desert. You could come to North Carolina and it could be a great place for singles, but you would never meet your person. You can meet your person anywhere, but if God is saying relocate, because that's one of the other things is that a lot of times when God want to move in your life, it takes a faith move from you to do something. And for a lot of us, it was relocating. But if you're relocating just for the thought that is singles in that place, that is the wrong reason to relocate
Right.
because singles can be anywhere and you can meet your person anywhere.
And God can introduce you to anybody,
Anywhere.
anywhere, at any time that he chooses to do so.
She said, "What are the tips of being open minded when it comes to dating after being divorced and disappointed?" If you would have just said dating after being divorced, I would have given a tip, another tip. But because you put disappointed on it, I'm gonna say go get some. Make sure you healed. Make sure you get your healing.
And just to show you that that doesn't stop what God has for you, if you trust in him. I was married and divorced. I was married 16 years, divorced 16 years before she and I met.
Um. Okay. Wait a minute. It was another question. No, something I wanted to say about this one first. About okay, so when she just said, what are some of the tips you can
Okay.
give after being divorced and disappointed? The tip is reset to the person you were before you met that person. So even though after we come out of relationships, we come with wisdom and things, how we're gonna move differently, and maybe we had to, set some boundaries. But what happens is that a lot of times when we come out of a relationship that disappointed us, we move on with those blocks on us, and a lot of times with soul ties as well. So I would say get your healing, but you want to reset back to the person you were, the nice, vulnerable person you were before. I hate to use the word vulnerable, the person you were before you met the person who disappointed you. You want to reset to that person as if you never met that person again, and it's going to take some healing. This person said, what kind of things did you pray for over Terrence? Main thing that I saw in that dark room was that he had some a soul tie, and so and it was and it ended up being true that he was tied to a disappointing relationship. So my prayer was that he had healing, and that the soul tie would break, and that he would get peace, that the Lord will restore his peace, and that the Lord will heal his heart, and that whatever was poking at him, that that he would be healed in those areas. What it was, I saw depression, I saw disappointment, and so I was praying over those things for his mental health and well-being.
Go back up to Drummer Boy. Drummer Boy, you say that you had a prophecy and it ended in chaos, or it went into unhappiness, chaos, and it ended. One of the things that people make a mistake in doing is that when they get a prophecy, a lot of times they assume the very next person they meet is going to be the person that's going to fulfill that prophecy.
He said that the prophecy was that she would, it was literally that she would be the person. Yeah, he said that she would be the person.
So again, I'm going to go back to, we have to put our expectations not on the individual person, but we have to put our expectations in God, because again, a lot of the things that we are expecting from that other person, they cannot deliver on, because it's not something that God gave them to deliver, to give us. We have to be careful in where we put in those expectations.
Also, a prophecy, you got to try the spirit by the spirit. If that person was not confirmed in your spirit first, the prophetic word that you received, it could be an error. Mm-hmm. Didn't necessarily mean that. And it could be, a timing thing. God's timing is perfect. And just because you get a prophecy, going back to what you said, just because you get a prophecy does not mean it's going to be immediate, that the marriage is not going to be immediate.
Case in point, she just talked about Wanda. She had a dream about Wanda, 2 years ago? Mm-hmm. She shared that, but it took 2 years for that to come through. Another thing is, what was I going to say? Another thing is, we have to, what's the word? We have to be careful in saying that, because I know what I was going to say. You said about the friend. I wanted to marry her. We became friends. But I wasn't looking for a friend when I proposed to her. You feel me? I'm saying, you got a lot of people out there to say, I want to marry my best friend. I want to marry my best friend. What you need to do is find the person God has for you and get married to that person. Y'all will become friends over time.
Yeah.
Okay? If you're trying to meet somebody, be a best friend, and then marry your best friend.
Yeah, it's a lot of weirdness here, because you said your happiness quickly replaced with chaos. Where is that chaos current coming from? And are you taking some responsibility for it? Yeah, something is a little off with that.
Because God is not the author of
chaos. He's not. Let's go down. Let's see what thank you, virtuous one. That's what I was trying to say. You need to reset back to your authentic self before you got into the relationship with that person. He said, just that my wife would be my best friend, no specific. Okay. Oh, well, then that person, that person was just removed.
That goes back to my whole point.
Yeah, then that person was probably not the one.
That person was not the one for you, so they couldn't fulfill the prophecy. You have to let you. Just because a person gave you a prophecy doesn't mean the very next person you meet, or even the person that you with, is going to fulfill that prophecy. Okay. It could be years later.
Yeah.
So you have to take that and understand it, but then still let God order the steps.
Yeah. So, okay. So he said that he received the prophecy. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me go back. He said, I received a prophecy that she would be my best friend.
Your wife would be your best friend. Not the girl you was with when the prophecy
came.
He
said, I thought I found her.
Right.
But the happiness was quickly replaced with chaos, and then it ended. God removed her.
That means she wasn't the one. So God removed out your life.
Yes. So if you're still holding on to that person, let it go.
That's why, look, that's one of the reasons why we keep, and I don't want to say it to sound like we're trying to be all religious. I'm saying it because it's what we believe deep down in our core. If you relinquish it to God and let him order your steps, and you are being obedient, listening to him with your spiritual ears, okay, praying, fasting, all the things that his word says that we need to do, it's going to help you hear his voice. It's going to give you discernment, and you will be able to identify some of the things that you're going through before it gets to a point to where you feel like you've been, over involved in something that you shouldn't even be involved with. In this case here, it comes across that she was not the one. You was looking for her to fulfill a prophecy because you got a prophecy, but it wasn't the one, so God removed her. You think it's chaos. Why? Because you're not listening to God.
You're not listening. You need to take that. She shouldn't even be coming in this conversation.
Yeah.
You should automatically know she wasn't the one.
If God, read.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go back to this question, because this is where we get real candid.
Yes.
So this person said, did you experience spiritual warfare? Yes, we did. And we're going to tell you when it happened. After we got engaged, I was living in Raleigh. Terrence was in.
Those you've been rocking know the story.
We're
going to tell it.
I was living in Raleigh. Terrence was living in Charlotte. In my brilliant head, I'm like, we're getting married 16 months later, the next April, but my lease is over this June, and I don't want to renew my lease. So why don't we just Terrence had his own house, so we decided that we were going to move into our own. So I said, well, why don't we just get an apartment together in Charlotte, and a 3-bedroom apartment, and I can just move to Charlotte, and I could commute to work 2 hours each way, and we could just move in and plan this wedding, save some money, and we're going to just shack up. And shacking up came with knocking the boots, and that's what we did. And
as soon as we started shacking up,
all hell broke loose.
The warfare
hits
full throttle.
The finances were attacked.
I huff and I puff and I blow that house down.
I mean, everything was attacked. I remember I was commuting back and forth to work, and something hit the windshield. I lost control of the car. Big old splatter. All hell was breaking loose. And so that was June of 2021. Mm-hmm. We were getting married April of 2022. So June of 2021.
Up until
December, we went to watch night service for New Year's. And that night we decided that we were not going to go in to the new year
out of order.
Out of alignment. So we stopped having sex. I moved out of the bedroom, out of our bedroom that we were sharing. I moved into the guest room, and it was like immediately
As soon
the windows of heaven opened up.
as soon as we separated ourselves,
Yeah.
everything God re when you talking about redeeming the time, redeeming the finances, redeeming the peace, redeeming everything that he had removed, he put it right back.
Yep. Instantly. And when by the time it came to our wedding, when people saying, all kind of things, you're gonna be stressed out for your wedding. The only issue we had with the wedding was that the florist who delivered my bouquet delivered the bouquet and put it on the back dock, the rear dock, instead of delivering it to the hotel front desk. He delivered it, and we could not find my bouquet. Push come to shove, we could have went down to Publix, and my girls or my mother could have made me a bouquet. But that was the only issue that we had. Beautiful wedding day. Everything was beautiful. Like when I say everything fell in alignment, when we got back into alignment.
And that's why we talk so much on this channel about getting in alignment, because we saw what happened when we got out of alignment.
And she said, in retrospect, what would have been a better option than moving in together? Me staying my butt in Raleigh and renewing my lease and paying the difference, whatever the difference was,
and understanding that everything there's a season.
Everything,
and the season for us to move in wasn't in yet.
Wasn't there.
Don't get ahead of God.
Don't. And his grace is sufficient.
Yes.
So we had just did a video about that. And a lot of people don't like to believe this, especially a lot of religious people, that God's grace is sufficient. It does not mean that that's not your God-ordained person. If they was married before, if they got kids, or even if they had human moments and knocking the boots. But what happens is that there's consequences for your actions. And God's grace is sufficient, forgiven, but we pay some consequences. It was some consequences for our actions.
Look, I'm not saying we're better than anybody else, but I'm saying that there are a lot of people that if they were in our situation from that June to December, they wouldn't have got married.
When I say we almost didn't get married either, we were bickering, we were fighting that whole 6 months. It was hell. And if we always say this, if you notice, we don't have a lot of videos on, we never talk about our engagement season, because the whole time most of the time we were engaged,
a lot of our lessons came.
We were not in alignment. Yeah. We don't have a lot of videos on here while we were engaged. Our engagement, there was really nothing memorable about our engagement, just that we were out of alignment. But God redeemed the time. Yep.
That's why we keep pointing you back to the word. Yes. And again, we're not trying to be over religious or
we ain't religious at all.
None of that stuff. So we're trying to be as honest as we can about God has got you. So you just got to let him.
Yeah. So what happens is that when you're out of alignment, you it's almost like you turn the volume down on God. You can't hear his voice. You put a separation up, and he give you your free will. So he's saying, I'm going to be right here whenever you want to come back and turn up the volume. And I'm not going. He said, I'll never leave you. He said, I will never leave you or forsake you. But what I'm not going to do is override what you want, your will. So if you don't want to hear my voice right now, you want to turn down the volume, I still love you. I still care for you. I still want the best for you. I still have the best for you. And whenever you're ready to turn the volume back up, it's going to be here. But as long as you got that volume down, you're deaf. You can't hear his voice. You can't hear his GPS telling you, go here or do this. You have literally tuned him out.
The perfect example is read the book of Daniel, chapters 10 through chapter 12, when it talks about the Prince of Persia. Okay. Daniel prayed. God sent the answer immediately. But the Prince of Persia stopped the angel that was delivered, the enemy, and they fought for 21 days. Okay. Daniel continued to pray. To another angel had to come down
and help
the first angel fight. While they were fighting, the angel delivered the angel delivered the message and told Daniel the answer was sent immediately. We've been fighting Prince of Persia for 21 days. So I say that to say, when y'all are praying and you don't receive a message immediately or the answer immediately, keep praying.
Don't stop.
You don't know what's holding up your God's response to you. You have to keep praying, because again, we keep forgetting. Oh, we're human. We can do this. We can fight. I grew up in the streets. I can fight. I can defend myself. But guess what? We war after principalities. It's in the spirit realm that you need that fight done. And you can't fight in the spirit realm without the Lord.
So when you give up your armor,
yes,
you lost your battle. You delayed your battle. You can't.
You're fighting with the wrong things.
Which is one of the reasons that story applies to when I had to continue to pray for Terrence in the dark room. I had to continue to. It was the prayer went forth. The Lord was sending the answer, but I had to continue to pray. I kept continue to pray. But yeah, we took that armor down when we moved together.
And here's what's so powerful about that message. She was being obedient and praying for me, but she don't know what I was doing. I could have been adding to the problem, or I could have been doing something else. But she stayed obedient. It ain't like she was praying for her own situation to where she knew what her participation in it was. She didn't know what I was doing. So just to be obedient in a time like that and say, I'm a stay the course and let God's word be what it is.
Right.
You have to understand how important his word is. Never going to return void or empty. It's always going to accomplish what it was sent out to do. It's always the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. God would never go against his own word. He would never go against your free will. He gave you. So there's some things that we have to, as individuals, own up to say, yeah, that was my choice. That wasn't God's choice.
That was my choice.
That was my choice. I did that. Lord, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I repent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he don't ever think that he doesn't love you, but sometimes we make choices that we take matters in our own hand. Even when we're anxious and anxiety and confusion and all of that, it's like the Lord said, I give you peace. I give you peace. Rest in him. So yeah. All right, baby, it's 8:30. It is 8:30. It was nice hanging out with y'all. If y'all want to join the private group, you are open to. We're meeting next Tuesday.
Yes, join the private group. Like she said at the very beginning of this, go to our page. Okay. It's called God-Ordained Connections. And just follow.
Yeah, it is. If it's for you, God has it for you. He will bring it to pass. But again, you can choose not to receive it. And that's what most people's delay and block is. They're choosing either directly or indirectly.
Because you think you can do it for yourself.
Yeah, you're thinking
what God's timing is, and you're getting in the way.
A lot of times we take it out of God's hand and we take matters in our own hand. So yeah.
So again, we are here to support y'all.
Yeah, we're here.
We're here to be your cheerleader. We're here to be someone that you can just share what you're going through, and we ain't going to judge. We're here to say we've been there, done that.
Yeah.
This is what that meant to us. It could or could not mean the same thing to you, but we will share our experiences of what we've gone through to help you find what that can mean.
Yeah. Friday night prayer group. All of that is on our website, GodOrdainedUnion.com. You'll find the login for the prayer group, the login for the private group, as well as the ebook. All of that, GodOrdainedUnion.com. GodOrdainedUnion.com. All right, that is it for the Smiths.
Yes, so we look so forward to seeing you guys in our next video.
Yep. We love you, and we're praying for you. Peace.